A friend with weed is a friend indeed. But a friend with gold is the best, I'm told.
Hello you demons and happy Friday. Now I wanted to start today's video off with a quick disclaimer. Demons Corner and me personally do not condone any of the stereotypes that you're about to see in this film review. I don't agree with them. They are old and dated. This movie that we're about to talk about is very much dated, if not very obvious from the title. We're going to be looking over what exactly Leprechaun in the Hood was. So I had the unfortunate pleasure of looking back over this very dated film and found a few surprising facts about it. It had a budget of $1.4 million. That's right. It had that Hollywood treatment and budget, and it was a direct-to-DVD release. So because it was a direct-to-DVD release, I don't have like what the box office total was and how much it cost to make and what it produced, but we do have reviews. Leprechaun in the Hood stands at a surprising 33% approval from Rotten Tomatoes, and it has a B+ on Entertainment Weekly, I believe. Upon looking at some of its reviews, there were the obvious, oh, it was a funny, dumb movie to watch, or, hey, I would recommend this movie if you want a good chuckle. But Scott Weinberg did his job properly. He gave it a 1 out of 5, saying, and I quote,
"There is simply nothing to recommend here, even a little."
Meanwhile, another source, E! Online, stated that it is one of the top 10 movies to watch while high, which is definitely not what I did when I rewatched this movie. Now, with conflicting scores in a review like that, it couldn't be that bad, could it? Now, that's why I'm here to give you a sort of blueprint storyline review of what that movie was, because I don't want to give everything away. I kind of want people to see this movie and take it for what it is. Our story starts off with a character named Mac Daddy, played by Ice-T. Yeah, Ice-T's in this, by the way, with his other friend Slug. I'm not sure what the actor's name was. I just remember it was very elegant. I'm sure I'll put it on the screen here. Those two are going around dressed up fly as hell, wearing pumps around this New York subway station, breaking down walls for some reason. That's when they come across this leprechaun statue. And what the fuck? And they start, taking the things that are on there. One of these items being a golden flute, which comes up later. That's the very, very important.
That's all I want right here.
And they steal his chain, but they don't know that this chain was actually the only thing stopping him from coming back to life. Now, mind you, if I'm remembering correctly, there's like random food around there.
Burger's probably still good.
Burger's probably good, huh?
I just remember being very confused about what that room was. Like, did they just seal it up? I don't know. I'm probably talking like a fake fan. There's probably something in Leprechaun 4 that explains this all. But anyways, I digress. After they take the chain off, Leprechaun comes back to life and kills Slug using a hair pick. Mac Daddy then sees this, pulls out a gun, only to have it heat up in his hand, drops it, gets out a metal switchblade, same thing happens again, and he throws it again, and then that's when he proceeds to pull out a bat from his afro. One thing leads to another. Leprechaun's resealed because the amulet falls back on him in some crazy, weird, So after that short little epilogue, we meet our 3 new main characters. Postmaster P, which stands for positivity, Butch, and Stray, which is short for Stray Bullet. Yeah, I discovered that in the character list. I don't think they ever call him that fully. And they're trying to do like a small-time gig, but something explodes. I have no idea what it was supposed to be. They're wondering how they get back on their feet, and they go over to none other than Mac Daddy. They show him some of their bars and stuff, and he's like, "You guys are awful." Just straight up. But anyways, we want to learn about the Leprechaun. Oh, by the way, he's there in Mac Daddy's crib. Yeah, he's just straight up there in a statue, and he even yells at, I think, Butch. He's like, "Don't touch things you don't know." Wait, did Mac Daddy have to, like, haul the Leprechaun out of the sewer or, like, the train tunnels just to, like, put him in his office? And even then, why would you want that near anything of you. Like, so after being kicked out and goofed on and denied, they basically all come up with the next best idea, or rather, Stray does, and he says, you know what? Let's rob him. They all meet up at this train station, and this weird, like, 1980s fade commences where Postmaster P finally meets up with them, but they couldn't do just like a cut or something. Like they had to, no, you had to see that he made the long journey over to his friends. Now this is when we get to the best part, where the Leprechaun comes back out. So they go over to rob Mac Daddy, and of course they rob that amulet off of the Leprechaun. I would keep everything on it. As a matter of fact, like, staple it, layer the concrete on the amulet, and just drop him in the middle of the ocean. Everything's basically going as according to plan as it could in a robbery so far. So as they're robbing the place, Mac Daddy comes in and discovers them, and he gets mad at him, but they do the reasonable thing. And they shoot him. So I guess they shoot Mac Daddy, and the Leprechaun's free now, and they just unload on the Leprechaun. Like, so much so that one of his arms flies off. And like, I don't know, for being Postmaster P and positivity, he really just like unloaded on that little Leprechaun like crazy. They get away, they run away. Come to find out later on that Postmaster P didn't actually kill Mac Daddy. He starts, you know, smoking weed in the bathroom, and as he's there, the Leprechaun discovers him, and he starts confronting him, basically giving him the ultimatum of,
Now find me gold in record time, or you'll suffer a bloody hideous crime.
oh, so yeah, as Leprechaun's leaving the bathroom after confronting Mac Daddy, a guy tries to attack him using a microphone stand or something, and Leppy just grabs it and uses force lightning to destroy this man, because that's one of the many skills I think leprechauns are known to have. Oh, quick side note, Ice-T's acting was on point. He was super believable, super good. Like, I don't know how to explain it aside from like every scene with Mac Daddy was like, damn, he means business. He like conveyed the character so well. So the gang finally is like, oh hey, Mac Daddy's after us, we need someplace to stay. They discover that the flute is then not cursed, but like it is able to enchant people to make them do whatever you want. Postmaster P starts to play it, and it doesn't really explain anything other than people just, I guess we're just supposed to assume that it's like this magic that makes people want to obey what you say, or like has you, I don't know, like the person. During the whole flute playing scene, Postmaster P just kind of puts it up to his mouth and just holds it, and it somehow plays a tune. Like, he doesn't change the keys or anything, he just... Leppy, knowing that these guys went around and tried to sell things, goes to the pawn shop first, where we get a weird, confusing scene that I don't know is supposed to represent. Leppy goes up to this guy and he's like, hey, give me back my flute. And the guy's like, hey, I don't have your flute, but I know these guys came in to get it, but hey, whatever. And he's like peeing behind his own store wielding a katana. I mean, I guess you gotta be protected when you're going people. Like, so the Leprechaun, to get revenge against this pawn shop owner, does the next most logical thing. He disguises himself as a woman and starts flirting with him, and I think kills him after like feeling him up and like kissing him for a long time, which is...
Oh, Jackie. Love me, Jackie. Love me, Jackie.
Why not just like use that force lightning or like blow his head up or something? Nah, he was feeling like he needed to, you know, turn into a woman to make out with this man and then just kill him some way. Wouldn't even see how he dies. So after celebrating, the guys then get a hint that, hey, Mac Daddy is alive and he's coming after us for stealing, you know, the flute and things that he had. They are then confronted by Mac Daddy and somehow get out of that situation, and they end up going to hide in a church. This is where we meet this pastor character that is, off. I'll put it that way. And it's a commonly known thing that apparently he carries a gun. So anyways, things get weirder from here. They're like in the church and the pastor's like, hey, you could stay on one condition. My band has canceled on me, so you guys need to be the new entertainment for this evening service. And Stray begins to rap the most heinous things that give you, as the viewer, such awful secondhand embarrassment. This is when Postmaster P's like, no, you know what we have? The flute. And he hypnotizes the entire church to start liking what they're rapping. Oh, and so so halfway through this service, Coolio shows up.
Yo, that's Coolio. Jesus loves me, this I know.
They start doing that, and they find out that, oh, Mac Daddy's coming after us, and the Leprechaun is there as well. But that's where we get this weird Scooby-Doo-esque, like, scare.
We don't go down without a fight. Right. 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 Right.
Right.
So that's when the Leprechaun gets his zombie fly girls on the case to seduce the priest. Now this is where I'm saying that the priest character gets a little weird.
Come and let me lay hands upon your sinful creature.
Gross, nasty, and he ends up getting attacked by a zombie fly girl. Also, these zombie fly girls just kind of look like a bunch of undercover cops wearing their Oakleys, but I guess that's what makes them, I don't know, fly.
Now give up me golden fruit.
So Leppy starts confronting our boys, right? And Leppy then makes Stray shoot himself. Yeah, he straight up just makes Stray shoot himself, and it was like the most awful way they could have killed off one of our main three. And so they start planning revenge against Leppy. This is where they discover that apparently the Leprechaun has been pimping. Yeah, no, straight up, his zombie fly girls are now his hoes, and Leppy's just been straight up pimping. Smoking weed too. Yeah, no, it's the weirdest turn of events. This is where the movie starts to actually unravel. But Butch and Postmaster P are not having it. On the final act, we see Postmaster P and Butch trying to infiltrate this zombie fly girl trafficking ring dressed up as women themselves. And that's when Butch says that Postmaster P looks really good in that dress. And honestly, I gotta agree with him. His arms looking really good in that dress. Like it's complimenting him and his figure. That whole thing happens. They go in and they finally get to Leprechaun. The Leprechaun then looks at Postmaster P and is like, I like you and I want you. So he takes a puff of the evil poison 4-leaf clover weed and he passes out after Mr. P was about to do some unspeakable things. But we're not going to get into that. We're going to go on and move to the next thing. As they're getting out of this little like elevator, they're confronted by Mac Daddy, who fires a barrage of shots at the two, unfortunately hitting Butch. No! Butch! He is probably one of the most likable characters throughout the entire cast, and he is taken by a stray bullet. We are then hit with this epic scene where Postmaster P looks like he's going through his like bad bitch phase where he's got the gun. We get this crazy gun standoff scene and he proceeds to empty like 5 rounds into the guy. But then the other bad guy comes out. Leppy then wakes up, takes the elevator up, and is like, oh, you think you're gonna take my flute from me? And then that's when Postmaster P hits him back with
If this is to be Post's last stand, you'll have to take this flute from me cold dead hand.
Guess who comes in to save the day? None other than Mac Daddy. Comes in with the steel chair, or rather the wood chair, and hits Leppy over the head. Rendering him unconscious, or what I believe to be unconscious, and then proceeds to die. Wait a minute. I just realized that bar had like a weird underground bunker thing. Is that normal? Is that supposed to be like the basement where they keep all the kegs or something? Like, what was that? I feel like that should have been investigated further. Anyway, after Postmaster P leaves the bar dungeon thingy, we are to assume that he starts his career off on his own. At least that's what we think. Halfway through Postmaster P's performance, we see the freaking Leprechaun. That's right, he's not dead, he's back, he's rapping.
I come from the land of the Irish Spring. Dublin's the place where I learned my thing.
God, this movie isn't real. Oh, it's not real. He starts rapping, and the zombie fly girls are there, and he's just giving the performance of his life, and that's the end of Leppy in the Hood 1. Don't worry, guys. If you didn't have enough with that one, there's Leprechaun 2. Back to the hood. I'm not making that up. If you're going in there expecting some grade A horror masterpiece, stop. Calm down. Lower your expectations. This is like a movie that isn't really made nowadays, where they're just making fun of scary movies just for the fun of it, you know? You know, that $1.4 million budget had to go to something, and I feel like every scene was the makeup crew, because Leprechaun looks phenomenal in every scene. Alright, I'll give them that. While they didn't have a really good plot, and its whole idea was just hilarious, the design for Leprechaun was really good. Like, I didn't see a single prosthetic piece like wavering off or like tilted or looking weird. No, his stuff was solid the entire movie. That is Leppy in the Hood. Now, I missed a lot, and I mean a lot of stuff. So please, if you are at all interested in what I have rambled about, please, it is free on YouTube with ads. It's like 1 hour and 30 minutes. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching this rant about this very weird, terrible movie. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And as always, stay spooky. Bye-bye.